Hi everybody. I'm going to do a cooking demonstration. We're going to make ghost pepper jalapeno cheese pierogies. This will be the second time I made them, and they turned out really good the last time, nice and hot. And let's get start with our jalapenos. Trim the ends. Slice them in half, and what we're going to do is throw them in the oven under the broiler. And we're going to char the skin. This will give the pepper some added flavor. Under the broiler. As for the ghost peppers, before I start, I'll just put these on just to make sure I don't get squirted in the eye. Last time I made these, I used 8 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll save that one for myself. 7, 8, 9, 10. I got a few extra potatoes. So I got my potatoes peeled. I cut them into smaller sizes. That way it'll boil faster and not take as long to cook as well. So I'm going to put a char on these ghost peppers too. And how I'm going to do that is I got my stovetop on. If I had gas, that would be great. I would just hold it over the gas flame to get the color I want around it. But I don't. This works just as well to get the char. Oh, I just burnt the glove a little bit. That's all I want. A little bit of color on there. Don't leave it on too long because the skin is thin and it'll burn right through. And I can smell it already, the hotness from these peppers. Done. Done. Good enough. Done. And I'm wearing safety glasses, you know, just in case the pepper pops. It might blow out a little bit, and I don't want to get any of that in my eyes. That's good enough. See, that one was just starting to split there. But it's getting so hot inside, it's almost boiling. And I reckon there should be enough peppers. Fantastic. So while we're waiting for the jalapenos to char, they're just starting to blister. Let's get these chopped up. So I mentioned to some people at work that I had made these pierogies, the ghost pepper pierogies, and they didn't know what a ghost pepper was. I was kind of shocked. I thought everybody knew what a ghost pepper was, but apparently not. I can really smell the flavor of the the pepper. So I'm going to dice it small. I'm going to cut it lengthways, the pepper. Always keep the knife blade against your fingers. That way you know where your knife is. The char on the pepper here, that won't impart any kind of flavor into the pierogi. Like, you won't taste any burnt in the pierogi, in case you're wondering. And definitely wear gloves when working with the ghost peppers, because that heat will linger on your fingers for a while if you don't. So I got it cut lengthways, and now I'm going to fine dice it. Try to get it in the light a little better. And use a sharp knife. Using a dull knife would crush this and could cause some of the oils and juice to squirt out instead of being chopped. There we have it. I can really smell this ghost peppers. We'll check our jalapenos. Getting closer. Oh, just for reference, today I used russet potatoes with a little bit of red potatoes in it. And normally I use all russets, but I had some extra red potatoes to use up, so I decided to throw them in. Okay, we'll take a break, and when the jalapenos come out of the oven, I will show you what they look like. Okay, here we go. The jalapenos are ready. See, they're nice and charred. I'm going to peel the skin off. Okay. The last jalapenos I had weren't quite as strong as these ones are smelling right now. Woo! And I'm going to leave the glove on as well. So the skin should just, oh, these are still hot. The skin will just peel. The skin should just peel off nice and easy. Okay, this one's not cooperating. Let's try this one. And I like to roast the peppers because it just imparts a really nice flavor to the pierogies. I make jalapeno cheese pierogies too. But I get people asking me, like, can you make them hotter? Can you make them hotter? Well, we're making them hotter. And these could have been roasted even a little darker. But I'm satisfied with that. And as well, it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of the charred skin left on. It just adds character to your pierogi. And we're leaving in the seeds in the membrane, because that's where the heat is. Alright, good enough. And same thing, we're gonna cut the pepper lengthways. Into long julienne style strips. Nice and slow. Now we got all our strips. Now into small dices. I like to do small dices so it distributes all throughout the pierogi. So every pierogi should have a little bit of green in it. And with the jalapenos, they're not always hot. Sometimes you get jalapenos that just have the jalapeno flavor, but there's absolutely no heat. And that happened the last time I made pierogies with these. There was just no heat in them. They were still good, but if you want, chop it up so it's a little smaller, a little mashed up. Perfect. So you want to get this done before the potatoes are cooked. Let's set it aside. Okay, we'll be right back and I'll show you how we make our pierogi dough. Alright, our pierogi dough. Nice easy recipe. One and a half cups of water. And my first cup was missing a little bit. One egg. And then we add some oil to almost the half cup. So with the egg and oil, we're like just over a third. And then we add a couple tablespoons of salt. And now we add 4 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. So this recipe is just guideline because all flours are different. You know, when you're mixing it, you might need more flour or you might need more water. It depends on the strength of the wheat used to make the flour. Now we mix. Now this recipe will make about 5 to 6 dozen pierogies. Now the dough is starting to come together, and to me it's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to set my timer on my mixer for 3 minutes. So in 3 minutes this dough will be done. And then I'm going to put it into this lightly oiled bowl. And for the amount of potatoes I have, I'm going to do this recipe 2 more times, because I'm making about 18 dozen pierogies today. But when this is, when your dough is kneading, just check it after a couple minutes to make sure it's not too wet and sticking to the sides of the mixing bowl. If it is, just add a little bit of flour at a time until it pulls away from the bowl. A little oil stuck here on the side here. Good enough. So that's looking good. It's got about 1.5 minutes left to go. So we will see you when I take the dough out of the bowl. Alright, we're in the last seconds of our dough being kneaded. Just a little sticky, but that's okay. We put it in the oiled bowl. I oil the bowl so when I'm cutting out the dough, it comes out nice and easy. There we go. So after all the dough is made, we're going to let it sit for about a half an hour so it relaxes, and when I'm ready to knead the dough, it's going to be relaxed and it'll be a lot easier to roll out. Alright. And as always, make sure you're washing your hands in between everything. Just a good kitchen rule. Alright, be right back. Okay, we're back. Potatoes are cooked. We'll get everything together that's going to go in there. Half a cup of dehydrated onions. And I like to crush them up a little bit more. And we got our salt and pepper. I got 5 cups of cheese. I used some cheese spread. Got my masher. So we're gonna add some pepper. I know, adding pepper when you're going to be adding those hot peppers. Salt. Not too much at the beginning because there's salt in our cheese, and in the cheese spread there's salt as well. So let's start getting this mashed in. And this is why I like to cut the potatoes small, so they're easier to mash. I'm going to throw in the dehydrated onion now. I like using a dehydrated onion. I think it gives the pierogi itself a little more flavor. Plus, if I hadn't drained all the water out by chance. The onions will soak up some of that excess moisture. Be right back. We're back. So I'm going to break down the lumps and chunks of potato down, and then I'll add the cheese spread. I'm using medium shredded cheese, so I recommend using medium or old. Don't use mild, it doesn't really have much taste. Now I'm going to add like 3/4 of a jar of the cheese spread. And now you get your workout. Work it. Boy. I'm gonna scoop down in the bottom of the pot to make sure I get all the potato evenly mashed. I can see there's white chunks there, so those are spots I can't reach with the masher. Now I know this batch is going to be hot because just standing over those peppers I chopped up earlier, I can actually feel it up my nose. Get some tasting spoons. It's got a nice cheese taste. Oops. But I'm going to add a little more of the cheese spread and a little more salt. Oh heck, I'm using the whole jar. I've got about 10 pounds of potatoes here. Okay, I know this is gonna have the nice cheese flavor. Now we're gonna stir in the peppers. One second. Alrighty. Let's get these peppers evenly mixed in. Whoa, they really smell strong. And the red and the green give it a nice color. Okay, let's give it a taste test. I can see red and green in there. Woo! All right. Yeah, that's got some serious heat. Wow. Okie dokie, let's clean up a bit here. Oh yeah. That's warm. Okay, now I want these to cool off, the potatoes to cool off quick. The sooner they cool off, the sooner I can get started making the pierogies. So I got a couple pans here, and I'm gonna fill these up, spread them out so it's gonna cool off faster. And I will also put a fan on these. I made these last week, and I'm going to say this batch is hotter, and I used about the same amount of peppers. This is a cafeteria tray I'm using. Picked them up at the local restaurant supply. All right. Whoa. So, I'm going to prop these up. And I'm going to go get my fan and have the cool air blowing against the potato mix. And while that's cooling off, I'm going to clean and sanitize my working surface. So we'll be back in about 20 minutes. Alright, now it's time to fill the pierogies. Got my relaxed dough, rolling pin, scoop, my dough cutting can, little scraper to help keep it clean, flour, and our pierogi mix. So I got the countertop cleaned up, sanitized. So what I like to do is scoop a bunch of the potato now. So I'm doing about, this is a 3/4 ounce scoop. So I'm doing approximately 1 ounce. The potato's a little warm in the center here, but I'm scooping it, putting it on the counter. It's gonna cool off even faster. There's a good start. Now some of our dough. Flour the surface. Put a little dough flour on your hand so when you go to pick up the dough, use a sharp knife. The dough feels really nice. Soft, pliable. A little flour on top. And we're going to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch. Make sure there's some flour under it at all times so it doesn't stick to the table and stretch. Well, I mean, we're stretching it out, but we don't want it stuck to the table because it'll be too thin in that one spot. So that's good. We're at our thickness here. Before you start cutting your dough circles out, make sure you snap the dough so it'll shrink back into its shape. And now, my soup can. It's the perfect size. And when you're cutting your dough, don't do a twisting action. Because if you have carpal tunnel, it'll make it worse. And if you don't have carpal tunnel, you'll get it. So you put a little weight on it and just shake it. And this dough is very forgiving. So if you cut a piece that, you know, looks like that, that's fine. It'll still make a pierogi. Okay, we got our circles cut. Pick up the ends. Place them in a container, and we'll keep throwing our scraps into here, and then we can roll them once we've run out of our regular dough. And we're going to be putting our pierogies onto the cafeteria trays. I like using the cafeteria trays because when the pierogies are frozen, you can just give it a little twist and they'll pop right out. Okay, let's go. Dough ball, pierogi dough. I put it between my index finger and my thumb. Gently push it down and then push at the center to seal it. And then on the ends, a little push, seal, and then I'll give it a final pinch. And there we got a fat little pierogi pillow. And when you're doing the filling part, when you're working with the dough, make sure there's no drafts going, no ceiling fans or anything, because when you roll it out, if there's a draft, the dough will start to dry and get difficult to fill. Right now it's perfect. It's nice and easy to fill. If you roll out your dough and you roll it out and it's too thin, and like this is okay, but if it was too thin, I would just throw it into the dough scrap container and re-roll it. So we got our pierogi, dough, potato ball, once you got the hang of it, it should go pretty quick. usually give it a little shake to get off any excess flour. There we go. Well, I'm going to do this. When I get a tray filled up, I'll show you what my tray of pierogies look like before I freeze them. Alright. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Last pierogi to fill up the tray. And here's our filled tray. I got, there's over 5 dozen on here. I put a piece of parchment paper in between the layers so I can get more into the freezer. So I'm going to go throw these in the freezer, and I've got 2.5 more trays of this to do. Alright, I got the ghost pepper pierogies done. So I'm going to cook a few for myself. So I'm going to clean up real quick. And I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to cook these pierogies kind of like a pot sticker. Going to put them in a hot pan with some butter and oil and some water, so it's going to fry and steam at the same time. Well, I'll be right back. I'll finish cleaning up. I'll get them in the frying pan so you can see what they're looking like. Whoop. A little bit of oil. That's a little more than I normally would put in. Some butter. Normally I would just boil them and then throw them into a frying pan and fry them up with some onions. But I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to do it this way. Got to get the pan hot. I'm going to do a video on how I season the cast iron pan. I've seen other people do theirs, and I think my way is a little easier. So I'll do the video and then you be the judge. Okay. Set the timer. We'll go for 5 minutes. Got it cranked up high so it would get hot faster. And now I'm going to turn it down. And we'll check on it in 5 minutes. Alright, in the last 30 seconds of cooking. Shut the heat off. Sounds like a pierogi just burst. Take it off the heat. And they're looking cooked. So I got a little crispiness to it. Definitely cooked. I can hear the hollow sound when I drop it on the plate. And there they are. It's got a little crispiness to it. Cooked like a pot sticker. I will try them out. See how hot they are. Little sour cream. I like spicy, and if anybody likes spicy, they'll really enjoy these. So try them out. I think I used 9 or 10 ghost peppers. Cut it in half if you think that's too much for you. But these taste awesome. And any of my friends who like hot, I'll give them to try these out, and I'm pretty sure they'll be shitting their pants. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See anything you would like cooked up? Oh man, I'm throwing sour cream all over. Have any suggestions? Let me know. Thank you. Delicious.